And we are racing. Welcome back to the channel. This is the Golden State Race Series. This is the Pro 1-2 Crit on Saturday, Cinco de Seis, day after Cinco de Mayo, of course. And I doubled up in the Merc style TT on the day before, which was Friday, in both the 40 plus and the P1-2. Was able to take the top step on both of those. Sorry, no videos of TTs, because unless you're an amazing editor like my boy EJ, they're just not that fun to watch. Honestly, they're not that fun to do. I digress. Anyway, back to the racing action here. We are about 12 minutes into a 60-minute race. So duration counter lower right on the screen, that will count up to about 48 minutes, and that will mean the end of the race. So again, P1-2 action. I'll give you a little voiceover. Also up on the channel is the 40 plus Crit. Not going to do a voiceover on that one, just give you the full indoor trainer version. But I will do a voiceover and edit of the final day 40 plus circuit race, because that one was really spicy. So check those out if those are up on the channel when you see this. Anyway, thanks for watching. So what we've seen here is a break get up the road, and guy behind me, Team Valet, he's got a teammate up there, so he's not going to chase it down. But he's going to, it's my job to chase it and bridge up to it. And so 3 in front of us and 3 chasing with me towing us up. And I eventually make the bridge up to the breakaway. Again, what are we, 2 minutes on the counter? So call it, 14 minutes into the race. So pretty early breakaway, pretty stacked field as usual in NorCal in the P1-2. Mike's Bikes representing. I think it's Roman. Yeah, so that's Roman, Team Mike's Bikes in the front cam there. He comes across. He's got teammates, Ryan Gorman and Sean are in the field. So he doesn't have a ton of motivation to work in the break. As you'll see, I mean, he just kind of slots in the back. He'll pull through. He's not being disruptive. But he's got Team Mike's Bikes in this scenario has kind of 2 hands to play. One is, he can sit on the back to stay fresh, and fresh you are, Roman, with that unzipped kit. It wasn't that hot, folks, but anyway, that's how you stay fresh in the break. Is, you sit on the back and let the fresh air in. But yeah, so he can either, damn it, I'm almost going to bridge this here. This one hurt getting up here, but this was my second race of the day. And I actually got a call up in the P1-2, which I'll never get again, let's be real, because I was the Omnium point leader in the Pro 1-2 from winning the time trial the day before. But so yeah, so I'm not fresh, but I'm pretty fit. So able to tow these guys. Neither one of them works, so it's kind of a solo bridge with some company behind me, and we finally make the connection. That is Matt with Alviso. Super engine, as you will see. Also in the break there, just elbowed through, is my buddy Brad Wiggs. Kind of got to know him a little bit, raced a little bit with him in the P1-2 Pine Flat Road race. Which I think, I don't know if you won it or podium, but I was able to kind of hang with those guys. So anyway, and then there's the guy, and I apologize, I don't know your name, but I'm a huge fan of Sebastian Bariani Olive Oil, and so you'll see that in the back of his kit. He was kind of just hanging on. He didn't have, I think, any teammates, but wasn't able to maybe contribute as as equally to the efforts to keep this breakaway. And then also, last but not least in the breakaway, Tehruna lead, my boy Travis, my brake mate from Bariani Road Race, who snaked me at the line. We had a, I don't know, 75-mile breakaway of 4 that, dwindled down there. He comes through, and I'll get back on the front. And man, I'm really putting in watts here, and I'm super aero. These guys will attest. So it's like I'm not putting out a big draft, but I'm trying to put down big watts just to open this thing up, because there's so much power and danger, I guess, to the breakaway in the field. And as you've seen in some other videos, some other P123 videos, Bike does a pretty good job of letting the brakes stay away, so they can kind of, I'll say, relax, if that's even a thing, and then can snatch it right out of the clutches of victory, on bell lap. And that's kind of what happened if you watch any of the Cat's Hill P123 Crit. I don't have it on my channel, but it's out there, and that was kind of the plot there. So in the back of my mind, I know, what I need to do. And then Sam Benedict here in front of me, Specialized Project 74. So that's our breakaway, and we're going to keep trying to stretch this thing and grow this thing. So, video timer is on 7 minutes, so we're about, call it 20 minutes, almost a third into the 60-minute crit. We're all taking turns. For the most part, there was a bonus sprint competition. There wasn't any Omnium points up for grabs for cream laps, but there were some, a green sprinter's jersey you could sprint for. And so sometimes that can make brake mates a little bit selfish, where they're going to surge or attack through, coming around the line to try to get it. And it can disrupt the karma, the harmony, I guess, of a breakaway. And, the bigger your breakaway, the harder it is for everyone to get along, just like in life, the bigger the party, the more likely there is for there to be some people that want to dance to a different song, so to speak. So, but so far so good. We hold a gap. We're certainly not going to lap the field. I would have been okay with that. I didn't have legs for the sprint. Like I could put in these, big efforts when I was on the front, and I tried to do, equal or more than my fair share of work on the front in this breakaway, just to encourage and kind of motivate others to, like, hey, let's all commit to this, because I'm committed to the breakaway. Sure, I'd love to win this race, but there's some firepower in this breakaway, and I need a much more reduced breakaway to win out of it. And even then, I probably need my lucky rabbit's foot too, or something. So my motivation, my goal is for this breakaway to succeed. So I'm racing as if we are kind of one harmonized unit. Everyone else has their own perspectives, their own viewpoint, their own kind of tactical decisions, but that was mine. Like, I'm down for the greater good. If this thing comes back together, I'm probably just going to surf wheels at the back of the pack. I'm not going to contest the sprint. It's this is about as much fun as I'm going to have in this race. And so, realistic expectations, and try to execute on it. So that's kind of how it's unfolded so far. This back straightaway, really long, kind of a, I can't remember, it was a right to left crosswind a little bit more exposed than the rest of the course. Has a little right, left, right, call it 5 turns in this thing. And so if that's turn 4, we'll say the last corner is turn 5. felt like a headwind here on this little straightaway section. You can see the little map legend there, bottom right of the screen. But we're motoring, we're working, and so that's kind of how the race goes. 10 minutes on the timer, 22 minutes in. I got my teammates just past the start-finish line on the left side, and they're just cheering. They've raced already. That's newly minted Velo King EJ, aka NorCal Cyclist 2 is his YouTube channel. He's got more game with the video edits, obviously, than I do. My primary motivation in putting these videos together is for my own personal benefit, so I can watch them, see kind of how race dynamics unfold, with the goal of elevating my own race IQ to read situations, and so might as well throw it up on the channel. I'm not chasing subs or anything like that. If I was, I'd probably be failing. So, if that's a passive-aggressive way of saying, hey, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the channel. But or don't. I don't care. It's for me, and if you guys like it, awesome. I would like comments though, salty or otherwise. Entertainment value 1, number 2. If you guys see stuff in this video that maybe I'm missing from a tactical perspective, chime in, and then you guys can get something out of it, and then I can get something out of it too, and iron sharpens iron that way. So still away, still working, pretty harmoniously. You kind of see workload distribution. There's the Bariani kit in front of me. I think one of those is pink or orange socks. Not sure, but anyway, so my bad for not looking at race results to catch that rider's name. But solid dude. Could tell he was either doing everything that he could to contribute, or he was really good at playing possum, which is a tactic. It's something to consider. It's not just the effort that you're putting out. No one can see your numbers when you're on the front, but it's kind of what's that perceived effort, and just some thoughts to tuck away when you're racing. And so here he slots through. But if you've noticed, Mike's bikes, Roman is staying towards the back, and because he's got his tactical mission, if you will, which is, hey, if the brake survives, stay fresh to be able to win out of it. But don't contribute to increasing the gap, because if it comes back, they've got strong sprinters in both Ryan and Sean, and high probability that they can win out of a sprint too. So that's his mission. I think Sam, right there in the white jersey pulling through, I don't think he had any teammates. So I was trying to assess each rider. What are they thinking? What's their motives? What's their end game? What's their big picture? And he's super OG, veteran, P123 racer, and I wasn't sure what I couldn't even come to a conclusion, like on what is his end game. How is he hoping? Because he was taking decent poles. They weren't huge, but they weren't small, and I didn't know, is he on good form right now, or is he laughing on the outside, crying on the inside, and kind of dying a slow death in this breakaway? It's just, he had a good poker face, right? So I feel like if I wasn't so cheap, I would edit in maybe some Lady Gaga right now. But you don't get a lot of edits with me. I'm kind of a one-take Jake here, and if my voice gets annoying, encourage you to mute the video and put in your music. So I will put up a version without me jabbering too. So if you want a trainer version, I'm doing voiceover on the full race here right now. I'm actually in the car, taking a car ride up today, Tuesday, to the world famous Alviso for a little practice crit action up in the San Jose area, which is, you know, 2.5 hour drive. So as I'm riding in the car here, you know, got the AirPods in for this super high quality audio voiceover that you're listening to right now. So, you know, I've got an Alviso video on the channel. I'm going to film one today too. But yeah, try to put some good stuff out there. I appreciate the DMs and you know, feedback that I get on these. You know, I put an unedited, no commentary, try-to version of every race that I put up. I put that version up in an indoor trainers playlist. So you know, if you're indoor suffering and you want to watch something, I don't think there's a lot of commercial interruptions because I'm not monetized. So if they do have commercials, that kind of sucks because I'd rather not have commercials and be unmonetized, so it's uninterrupted. Because again, this isn't my 8 to 5. But check those out too. Those are fun. So let's do a little time check in here. We are 16 minutes on the timer, plus 12, so 28. We're coming into the halfway point of this 60-minute race. And, you know, everything's, you know, pretty copacetic here. Our time gaps, I think we're 20 seconds, something like that. I didn't pay super close attention. I'd kind of key in every other lap or so. I think we're coming up on a lapped rider here. We're getting ready to lap, you know, someone that's off the back. We haven't lapped the field, but that's who that guy is. He just kind of rolled past here. And I kind of pull off into turn one. We've kind of gotten a little bit of a rhythm where I would kind of pull through that front straightaway, and then everyone else that was working would kind of rotate. You see, you know, Roman's hanging back there, you know, the shout out Biryani Olive Oil. He's hanging back there. He's kind of hanging on. It was a little bit hard at some point because I was taking, you know, such hard pulls, at least hard for me, to where when I would elbow through, I'd have to slot it, but then I'd have to slot it where a gap would open up. And you know, I should have just been more cognizant and, you know, kind of glancing over my shoulder to see where that gap was going to be. So I could fill it rather than chase it down, which has to, you know, you put more energy just to get back in the draft. But that's kind of how it felt. I mean, we're cruising, you know, 30 miles an hour, 29, 30. I think the average speed for this race was, you know, 29 miles an hour, you know, with a 6-man breakaway, and not a lot of, you know, not all 6 riders contributed. So, you know, I mean, we're working it. Travis taking a swig as he drops back, and here we're on the front straightaway. I'm pulling again. I felt like if I wasn't contributing the most in this breakaway, Matt Altobello in the rear view certainly was. And fortunately for everyone else, he punches a much bigger hole into the wind, and so he can pull harder and also provide shelter. So and here I've got to ramp it up to, you know, 450, 500 watts to slot back in here. And I had to slot in third wheel. I just got off the front. Whatever. Greater good. Hope the brake succeeds. Everyone kind of looks around. If there's ever a pause, I'll err on the side of taking a double pull when we're this, far into the race. My commitment level is obviously high. I think the entire, all my brake mates know that, like, hey, I'm in it for the brake to succeed. And I'm also putting in enough effort that I don't think anyone perceives me as a threat, as flattered as I would be. But I don't think anyone perceives me as a threat to try to attack out of the breakaway and get away up the road from these guys. Because that isn't a tactic that, number one, that I think would work. Number two, I don't think with the effort and the energy that I'm expending in this race, I'd have to be really fresh, and my horoscope would have to be aligned, etc., for that to even come close to working. But so rolling along, sure what lap we're on here. We'll just kind of continue to watch this thing kind of unfold or develop. There's Sam coming to the front, pulling us through this little right turn to the back's long straightaway. This course had really good pavement, super wide. But it was technical enough. It was fun to kind of take different lines and instead of just a flat 4-quarter crit, it had a little bit of some kind of personality to it. Shout out, kudos to the promoters, the volunteers, everyone that came out to race this Golden State race series. I've done it for a few years now, and this year they added that Friday Merc style time trial. So there's an additional element to it. I'm the Omnium points leader coming into this race, but that was a 10-point scale. So for first place, you got 10 points, second 9, third 8. And so the points format for the Omnium for both the crit and the circuit race, it was a 25-point scale. So I didn't have a huge lead over the field in this field or in the 40 plus, because again, I won the 40 plus time trial, and then I had about 45 minutes to recover, and then change numbers, and then did the P123 time trial after that. So, but with the point scale, it's if you win, and then you don't like the point scale if you win the TT. I guess if you don't do the TT, then you like the TT point scale because, you're still in contention. And, it's tough. It's a Friday and not everyone can get off work or can make it over, to do the TT. The other dynamic that was a little bit different this year versus past years for the Golden State Race Series, there was no Omnium bonus point preems in the circuit race or the crit. And so, those have, the propensity, I guess, to add more dynamics to the race. So, if you're down on points, you can go for, all the bonus point preems to try to make up your deficit without having to, win out on the crit or the circuit race. If you have teammates, you can send them up to try to take away all the bonus points, teammates that aren't in contention, so that no one else can get those points and kind of use them against you. But did not have that element in the racing this year. It's fun with it. It was fun without it. And man, what a fun race series. This is one of the crown jewel, I guess I'll say, multi-day events in NorCal. So Rancho Cordova, California, suburb of Sacramento, is the location. and Rio Strada is the team that puts this on. You know, you had music, you had commentator, we had you know, a couple of vendors out there. One, they had a pancake truck giving away free pancakes. Shout out, I think Kodiak. Giving away the nickel pancakes as you're walking by. Hey, would you like some pancakes? And little freebies and stuff. Just a well-run, well-organized race. If you're looking for hotel recommendations in the greater Rancho Cordova area, I can only provide you with the hotel not to stay at. And I could just spend the rest of this video talking about how sketchy the California inn and suites. There's nothing sweet about it, and you didn't really want to go in. Sketchiest hotel I've ever stayed at in my entire life. Yes, I've stayed in downtown Oakland. This one took the cake. So if you want to learn more about that hotel, go to booking.com, look up the hotel, and check out my review of that place. But, woke up the next day, thankful that we weren't murdered. Took everything out of your room, stayed there 2 nights, because didn't want to encourage any nefarious behavior beyond what was already occurring outside of the rooms. But we lived, and anything that didn't kill you, I guess you can laugh about later. So, I guess added to the overall weekend experience. But man, super fun weekend. So we're still motoring along here. It would kind of slow every now and then, but by and large, we're driving this break. At some point in the race, Sean and Ryan, probably Ryan trying to tow Sean up. The two of them were trying to bridge across to us, and so that was a threat. I hear that kind of coming through the start-finish. I think some of the other riders did too. So, put in a little bigger effort because, one mic's in the party. That's not too bad. But when you get 3 of what would it be, I guess, 9, and 3 on one team and Mike's bikes of all teams, that would certainly diminish everyone else's enthusiasm. And so, fortunately for us, they did not successfully bridge across. They ended up falling back to the main field, and so we were able to keep the breakaway alive. But that was probably one of the biggest threats to the breakaway in this race so far, as far as what you've seen so far, I guess. Catch we're at lap cards yet. It's hard on where do you put the picture-in-picture, right? It's mostly right turns, you put on the left side, but you can't really see the lap cards coming through. So I don't know. Smarter people than me obviously put in these edits. I like having 2 cameras. It tells a better story, situation, etc. So here I slot into the back. And now we got both, the Variani kit gentleman and Roman that are kind of, skipping poles. They do have to do a little work because when those gaps open when I slot in, they've got to kind of put in some energy to get back into the draft. But still rolling here. And I think, let's see, 30, so 42, 43 minutes. We're about 13 minutes to go. So might be seeing lap cards soon. I'll turn up the background audio a little bit so if we can hear Big Rick on the mic shouting it out. Kind of help us all kind of understand where we are in the race and how much is left. So again, 60-minute race. Video timer, bottom right, coming up on 30 minutes. I started it about 12 minutes in. And again, pretty mild mannered, pretty well behaved group of guys in the breakaway. Um, in when I was starting out racing, and some of you guys that might still be Cat 4 or Cat 3, um, you know, people like to bark and chirp a lot. Hey, come on, this and that, and pull through. Like, um, you know, very mild mannered, very little chirping, if ever, in a P1-2, because everyone kind of understands, like, hey, if Roman's not pulling through, he has a reason for it, and I'm probably not a good enough motivational speaker to encourage him to kind of change his mind and abandon his reasoning for not pulling through, for example. Like, so why bother? Let's let's just race our bikes, and communicate, when you have to, and certainly, heart rates are elevated, and adrenaline's pumping, and so most racers aren't as mild mannered off the bike as they are kind of in that heat of the battle. But and I'm speaking of myself, so I guess that's my blanket apology for anyone that I've ever raced with that threw an F-bomb at, or threw an F-bomb back to when I received one. It's heat of the battle, and most of these guys, we all just kind of, it's healthy respect, healthy competition, and what happens between the whistle and the finish line doesn't carry over into the parking lot or the pits or the social media or even YouTube commentary for that matter. So here we got a little gap opening up. Not good. Who's going to chase it down? Who's going to bring it back? You can see who. Because again, that's my motivation. So I want this break to stay together, better together, united we stand, divided we fall. And so there we go. We get a little relief there, because that was a big dig. We're putting in watts to try to close this gap down, because it's only going to get harder if that gap opens up. And so you want to close those gaps as quickly as you can. And I'm gassed, and at this point I'm like, if you guys don't pull through, I was ready to, I think, pull the plug there. Maybe not, but I was hurting. And so those guys, they finally pull through, and we kind of come back together right here, fortunately. So now I'm going to sit on the back, and I'm going to try to recover at some point, or maybe I'll, or maybe not, or maybe the gap kind of opens back up again. And so, okay, so that bell we heard, that was the sprinter's points preem, and so next time through, it gets 3 points, 2 points, 1 point for first, second, and third across the line. Matt kind of sits up here. Travis kind of sits back up. I think maybe they were trying to kind of get away in maybe a two-man. They're pretty friendly towards each other, and so you make friends, and then you make close friends, and you try to make the most. And so I'm not making any friends, I guess, right here, because I kind of pulled through hard, and I was probably a little bit upset that I had to chase that last gap down. But and then once we're kind of back together, then I'm kind of dialing it back a little bit. Also, you got to worry about a counterattack, and then Matt comes through again. And number one, I like that he takes strong pulls, and number two, punches a big hole in the wind. Travis just slotted in on his wheel from Teroon, and then Roman, and now I'm kind of like, guys, I'm not gonna drop back in mid rotation, and so these gaps can open, and if you want to let them open, it's just gonna close. So I kind of jump on the back. I'm pretty close to being on the limit here too, I think, is why I'm not gonna pull every third wheel. I'll pull every fifth wheel or something like that. So we come around here, And we rolled through. And so, looks like there's a little bit of motivation starting to build towards, hey, if I'm in the breakaway, I might as well come through the line when there's a sprint omnium points frame up for grabs. And so you'll see a little out of the saddle there, 20 meters out, anything like that. Those aren't really attacks. They're just like, hey, if I'm here, might as well grab those points. And who knows how this race is going to fold? Who knows how the Sunday circuit race is going to unfold? And so maybe you bank those sprint points when you can, and maybe that becomes your objective on the final day, because maybe you didn't get a bunch of omnium points depending on how you finished, and something to race for. So kind of some thoughts around it. So there's Travis, comes Sam. The gap starts to open, but these guys keep it pretty close. And then I slot back in, give Roman, in this case, Brad, a free pass for that rotation. Travis slots back in. And here, Matt attacks us here. And so I think this is 6 laps to go. Matt goes up the road. A well-timed attack in the sense that none of us chased it. So, check, that box as far as was this a good tactical decision? You guys see how it unfolds. Drop a comment. Let me know. If it works, he's a freaking genius. And if he can stay away from the 5 of us, 6 of us, and not get caught, then smart move. But I don't know. For me, I felt like he was the strongest rider in this composition, this breakaway, and it would have been maybe better served to either try that. I don't know. It's tough. Try it later in the race when everyone's more motivated to chase it down because it's a greater risk, or try to keep the break together and then win a sprint out of the break, but keep the break from being caught by the field by kind of working together and kind of a united we stand, divided we fall, more of a mentality. But Matt is so freaking strong. I mean, he stays away. It takes us 3 laps to bring him back. So it's burning us up. But he's also, he's on the front, pulling himself alone, constant for 3 laps, where we're still, able to, take little 20-second digs, elbow through, so I think, just on paper, it's got to be hurting him kind of more than it's hurting us. And so that's kind of the next couple laps here is us trying to kind of chase Matt down. You can see him up there. It doesn't look like it's very far up, but he's going hard. He's committed to this move in the moment, and I think conversely we're committed to bringing him back as a group. I guess no one of us is overcommitted because we're all taking turns to bring it back. We're not playing games and letting our pace slow up. We're committed. That's the race up the road if we don't bring it back. And pretty baller move to getting an early break, but 12 minutes in, 7 minutes in, whatever it was, and then take it to 45 minutes, 40 minutes of riding the break lane and then attack out of that after putting in strong contributions to keep the break alive. So we're 52 minutes in, so we got 8 minutes left. I think we're about 4 laps to go. So we're just getting close. Start finish line, is on this little shorter straightaway on the bottom of the map legend, and I think we finally reconnect in those first couple of turns. And I think I think we see 3 to go here. So it's just up there. It's probably talking more than I was watching. So, maybe we don't catch him here. Maybe it's one more lap, and that was 4 laps to go. Let's see. Yeah, he's still up there. So closing that last 100 meters, he's going hard enough. I think it takes us, once we catch him right here, I think it takes us a whole nother lap to reel him back in. Yeah, I don't think we're going to catch him on this back straightaway. I think it's on the other side of the course, kind of with 3 laps to go. So, but meanwhile, the pace of the chase field obviously is getting faster. I don't think anyone wants to race for 7th or 8th place. And so as we're closing the gap up to Matt, the field is, chipping away at the gap up to us. And that motivation to close it increases as the lap number decreases, right? So coming through the backside, or I guess into the final turn coming up here, and I think we see 3 laps to go this time through. And I think we finally catch him, like I said, between that kind of turn 1, 2, 3. And so, hey, it's a roll of the dice, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So, man, I don't know. If I had Matt's legs this race, I probably would have used it a little bit differently. So we're back together inside of 3 laps to go. The field is getting dangerously close. As soon as you can kind of see him dangling there in the rear camera, obviously they can see us, and once they can see you as a breakaway, the confidence that they're going to catch definitely goes up. So kind of keep an eye on that rear camera footage there. At some point, our moto ref that's following the break, he's got to pull off, because he can't stay in between. If it comes back together, and is it going to come back together? I'll let the suspense build a little bit. You probably already know, but since you're not on the microphone with me, you can't spoil it. So if you don't know, you're going to find out here in about 4 more minutes or less. So yeah, you can see them. There they come. Son of a gun. We're not caught yet. You hear the time gap, and the lower it gets, the harder you pedal. And so we see 2 to go coming through right here. And, I think the time gap is so low that, it's highly unlikely that we stay away from the chase group at this point. But again, I've got all my chips on this hand of the brake staying away, so I'm gonna make them work as hard as they can, and who knows, maybe they do all sit up and look at each other, and the gap opens back up. That's what I'm hoping is going to happen here, but the likelihood of that happening starts to diminish as you get closer again to the finish. So, I come through on the backside here, and this long straightaway, and I'm as aero TT position with keeping my hand DCI legal as you can get. And everyone else is probably like, what the hell's he doing? We're going to get caught. Why is he still pulling? And then we do get caught, and that's why they did that. So here's the rest of the remaining pack coming up, and this is 2 turns from Bell Lap. So that's the end of the breakaway. Now it's for me. It's I'm a little bit relieved because I don't have to work as hard. I can kind of sit on. I haven't managed my fitness to have anything left for a sprint. Plus, I don't have an overly strong sprint to begin with, and so rather than kind of getting in the way, this in my rearview real quick. That's Luke Fetzer. He took second in the TT. He's 18 years old, solo racer. Came up from SoCal. Kind of got to know him a little bit when I raced down in Florida into January in Gainesville this year. Super strong wheel, and so this is Bell Lap right here. This is coming into 3 turns to go, and I think he moves up. You can see him in my front camera here as it sweeps around. Strong, there he comes through, and he goes, and I go, yo, I see it starting to pick up, and I'm cheering for him right at this point. I'm like, go, Luke! And no teammates. He gets up there, and he slots back in. Ends up winning the sprint. Takes the victory, earning the Omnium points lead by a healthy margin, right? Because if he's second in the TT, that's 9 points, plus he got 25 for the top step in this race. So he's sitting pretty going into the circuit race tomorrow. So I'll link that video here at the end, and you can click on that to see how the P123 race unfolds. There's poor Brad with me, brake mate, coming in here to the final turn. And, you don't try to sprint through riders, keep it safe. There's not even Omnium points on the table at this point. So, there you have it, folks. That's the P123. The breakaway failed. Congratulations to Fetzer. And check out the next video. Thanks for watching.